Hi guys, Finn here, welcome back to the channel. Sadly, couldn't get outside to do any shooting as I'm at work at the moment. More videos outside shooting and stuff. Later on during the week, I've been making a dent on the corvid population, thank goodness. Next time I will be taking a camera with me. I was the weather was against me on my last endeavour, as it was blowing a hoolie, and also we had quite a considerable amount of snow come down, and numb fingers didn't suit me at all for accurate shooting what was necessary. Also the cameras would have got wet, but it was a good experiment, and I will be back out and I'll take the rifle and camera with me next time. So got that one to look forward to, guys. It should be a good video. Alright, sort of Sunday chat. I've entitled this video "Why You Miss Things with a Springer." I have been watching another airgun channel, and he's put out some good videos on tips maybe to help you shooting along. I mostly agree with everything what was said, mostly. There are a few caveats, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to put across my version of things and why you miss things with a Springer. Let's take all the mechanical aspects out of the equation. So by that I mean you've gone out, you've got yourself a high-end Springer. Just for example, in front of me I've got this Pro Sport. I mean, it is pretty much as high-end as you can get. You've zeroed it, you've let it run in, you've done all the good stuff, you've checked the stock screws, everything mechanically is absolutely tickety-boo with the rifle. So like I say, guys, this is just taking the rifle completely out of the equation. I want to cover the main reasons I see people missing targets with Springers, and this comes from pretty much a lifetime of coaching people shooting, and where I'm going to go with this is I invariably, when people are having bad days on the range, I've written down 10 reasons, but it'll be sure as eggs are eggs, it'll be a break of the 4 marksmanship principles. It'll be something in those, what they're doing, which makes their shots go askew. Now I'm not going to even talk about wind or anything like that, because shooting in wind, the only way you're ever going to learn how to do that is to get out on the ground and practice yourself. Wind doesn't blow constantly in one direction, it goes in swirly patterns, and the only way you'll ever learn how to shoot well in windy weather is to get out and practice and then practice some more. So I don't want to talk about shooting in windy conditions or anything like that. I just want to concentrate on user error and what I see. And like I say, guys, it's invariably the marksmanship principles not being adhered to. Now, where I'm coming from on this, guys, is every single British soldier who served in the armed forces, at least for the last 50 years, probably longer than that, will have been taught parrot fashion the marksmanship principles, and it's invariably, as I keep saying, a break in those which throws shots off. And what are the marksmanship principles? Well, officially there are only four 4 marksmanship principles, but then they sort of kind of break down into subsections. And the marksmanship principles are position and hold, natural pointing, sight alignment and sight position, and shot release and follow through. But within each one of those, they're like little subsections. So I've written down on my handy dandy sheet of paper accuracy issues, user error, and these are the ones what I see time and time again. I'm going to save one till last because it's it is a break of marksmanship principles, but it's also, no, it is just a break of marksmanship principles. Right, so without any particular order, I'm going to go through them. Right, first off the bat is no follow through. Head straight up off the stock, or yeah, head straight up with the stock, and I'll try to demonstrate them, guys, as best as I can. So you've got your rifle on target, and this is where I differ from a video I have seen on an American channel and also read in the comments. Let's just get this one straight off the bat actually before I launch into this. These are rifles, they're recoiling rifles, they're not PCPs. Hear what I'm saying, guys, they're rifles. Hold the damn things like a rifle. It doesn't mean death grip in them, but you should have 4 points of contact on this rifle, or indeed any rifle. And I disagree with some people, and this might put sort of the fox in the chicken coop as such, but so be it. 4 points of contact, but goes into the shoulder. It doesn't have to be tight into the shoulder. Each rifle is an individual. You'll find out how, through practice, how it likes to be held. But I disagree with anyone who says it should barely just be touching. This is going to break in consistency of your shooting. It should be in your shoulder. You should feel it against your shoulder. It doesn't have to be like pushed in so it's almost dislocating your scapula, but it needs to be in the shoulder. That's your first point of contact. Second point of contact is your cheek weld. Now this is another one I disagree with a lot of people. They say a very light cheek weld. I disagree. It should be not sort of cramming your face into the stock, but it should be a firm cheek weld. Again, not so tight you're pushing your rifle off like that. It should be firm. Shoulder, cheek piece. Next point of contact, being pistol grip. This self-explanatory. Your final one will be on your forend of the rifle, and there are your 4 points of contact. And now let's talk about artillery hold. This will sound strange, but I'm not a big fan of artillery hold. I've never been a real fan of artillery hold. I prefer to hold my rifle. It doesn't mean a death grip whatsoever. It basically, your hand should grip the rifle enough to keep it under control. I cannot fathom where this where it's come from, where you should barely be touching your rifle. Like I'll keep saying in this video, it's a damn rifle. Hold it like one. Right, so yeah, no follow through, accuracy issues, and I see it all the time, especially on inexperienced shooters. They'll get behind the rifle, they'll squeeze the trigger, and as soon as the shot's released, it's straight up and looking. And invariably what happens is the shot, if indeed they manage to shoot a group, the group will shoot low. I see it so many times. Follow through your shots, it should be quite simple. Squeeze trigger, off she goes, and you maintain that sight picture until you see the round hit the target. When I'm teaching people to shoot, I tell them to keep their head on the stock and looking through the scope until they see the round hit the target, and then count 1,000 before they lift their head up. So it's bang, see a slight nod on the crosshair, and then head up, and then you can have a look. Must follow through your shots. It is so important. Next one, yeah, I've got poor trigger control. I see this one a hell of a lot. It's snatching the trigger or pulling the trigger. These are precision instruments. They're not shotguns. Riflemen do not pull the trigger. Riflemen squeeze the trigger. The shot release should almost come as a slight surprise to you. It should be almost a subconscious act. We don't do any of this silly stuff at all. They all throw your shots left, right and centre. There's no hard pull on it, and this is why it's so important to get a rifle with a decent trigger. If you're concentrating more on pulling the trigger or worried about when it's going off, you'll never achieve consistent accuracy. So yeah, snatching the trigger and pulling the trigger, not squeezing it. Next one I've got down, I've got poor hold technique, not pointing naturally at the target. I've seen it suggested, or heard it suggested, this is moving your hips in line with the target. That's not necessarily true. Far more important is your shoulders. If we turn it around and we go on position and hold and natural pointing, the natural pointing, underlined under natural pointing, it states the rifle must point naturally to the target without sorry guys, should point naturally at the target without any undue stress. You'll know if you're doing something wrong, maybe you're pointing naturally at the target, through two things. If you start feeling your muscles aching or feeling stressed out, you're not pointing naturally at the target. And by that, shoulders 90 degrees to the target is far more important than hip placement, I would suggest, and this is how I've been instructed and indeed instruct. However, you do need to shift. It's no good trying to shoot over your shoulder like this or bend into weird and uncomfortable positions, because your shots are going to pull high, low or wide. Your body will tell you whether you're pointing naturally at the target. And also, and I'll reiterate the other video, you can tell when you're pointing naturally at the target, because you can gain your sight picture, look at the target, you should be able to close your eyes, open again, and everything should still be perfectly aligned. And this comes in again under the marksmanship principle of sight alignment, and sight picture must be correct. Right, next one. Poor breathing control. See this a lot. When we breathe, there's a natural thing called respiratory pause. And test it yourself, guys. Breathe in, breathe out. And whilst you're breathing nice and slowly, in and out, you should just see your rifle doing that slight nodding motion. Breathe in, take a nice deep breath, get the oxygen to your muscles. Breathe out, you'll have a respiratory pause. That is when the shot gets released. It's bang, shot away. You're not breaking your breathing cycle. If you're doing a breathing cycle wrong, invariably your shots go high or low. I see it all the time. It takes a little bit of practice, but something you can try it yourselves next time you're on a range. Right, another one, and this comes through position and hold again. Positional changes, and I think I'll add this one in as well. Shooting off a bag or shooting off a hard rest. Now, spring piston rifles should not be shot off a hard rest. You will get springer bounce. A spring piston rifle has a double impulse recoil. It will jump all over the place like an angry rabbit if you try to shoot off a hard rest. It's all about maintaining consistent hold patterns, and I will put this across to you people who say, well, you shoot off a bag, shoot off a rest. If you're going to do that, use your hand. Not all the time. You're going to have a bag with you or a rest, but you're always going to have your hand. So learn how to maintain the same hold position on your rifle each time, and then you can, if you're wobbly or whatever, you can use a bag to support your hand. But it shouldn't be rifle direct contact with the bag or the rest. It should be your hand cushioning it in between. And it's also controlling your rifle by doing so. It's preventing, when firing, any torque in the system. Right, I've got that out of the way. I've got to say, guys, it's my biggest pet peeve. When I watch people who should know considerably better shooting off a hard surface. Yes, if all you're ever doing is bench rest shooting, you can get a fairly soft sandbag, shooting bag, and shoot off there, and all will be good. But not a straight, hard, solid surface. It won't do your shooting any good. In fact, HW even put in their user manuals, don't shoot off a hard rest. Says it all, really. But in the real world, as I say, you're not always going to have a bag with you or a rest. And while you might notice on the channel, I use a rest a lot when I'm doing accuracy testing on my videos and stuff. However, you'll always see my hand between the rest and the rifle. It's purely to cut out as much human wobble as I can, show the rifle's performance rather than my own. But yeah, learn to shoot holding the rifle properly, with it in your hand and your hand on the rest. Right, other one I've written down, positional changes. You've got to realise, guys, if you only ever learn how to shoot from a bench and then you go out in the real world and do real world hunting and stuff, your point of impact is going to shift somewhat. You will find it shoots differently shooting freestanding, shooting an elevated target, shooting at a ground target. If you're shooting sitting, kneeling or prone, you will get slight shifts in point of impact. If you're a hunter, it's your responsibility to learn to shoot in all the positions you use out in the field and learn where your point of impact shifts to. And again, there's no hard and fast rule to this. It's up to you guys to actually practice, and then practice some more and get confidence in your rifle. Another one I've written down here, what I see all the time, flinching. This is more I find in beginners to the sport. Flinching is exactly what it sounds like. Literally, when they fire the rifle, they flinch, and with noticeable effects down range. That is something which only putting lots of rounds down range and practicing again will eradicate, but I do see it. And I've written down number 9, outside distractions. I find this a lot on the channel actually. I find, because I'm so faffing around with cameras and stuff, which is an external distraction, sometimes I don't shoot as well as I possibly can because I'm more worried about is the camera working and stuff. So the best, my only advice would be, when you're out shooting, get in your little shooting bubble, forget the whole world around you. Obviously maintain safety awareness and situational awareness, but don't let it distract you. Just concentrate on doing everything in a smooth and consistent way. And the last one, thanks for bearing with me, and this is the number 1 accuracy issue I see time and time again, and I'd love to tell you I've got such a funny tale to tell about it, but that'll be for another video. And it's cant. It is the number 1 robber of accuracy, and there's 2 cants what you see, what I see on a regular basis, especially when I see people bring guns into the gun shop and they say they can't hit anything with it, and you pick up their rifle and you look through and they've mounted the scope sort of slanted in one direction or the other. Easy way to check whether your rifle is canted or not is, and I haven't seen anyone say this on the channel yet, but this is what I do to see, check for cant on your rifle. After you've mounted it, I've done a whole video on how to mount rifle scopes, so I'm not going to go through it, but to check everything is tickety-boo, look for your rifle scope on the lowest power setting you can get it at a mirror and see if your rifle horizontal crosshair is true horizontal, and then look at the vertical one and see if it's plumb in line with the bore of the rifle. And the other one is, again, user error, is shooter induced cant, which is basically the rifle is all set up absolutely perfect, and then they tilt the rifle one way or the other, only slightly, but it'll throw the shots. And a brilliant test for checking for cant is to get down on a range and do a box test on your scope. I've already done a whole video on how to box test it. If you're not getting a perfect box on your groups and you're getting like a flattened diamond, you know you've got cant. You're either inducing cant yourself in your position and hold, or the scope is been incorrectly mounted. Then once you've worked out which one it is, go and sort it out. I hope this helps, guys. I really do. I really want to get a video out this week, and I want to demonstrate the effect all these issues have on shooting down range on a target card. I'll set them up, and I'll do purposely all the bad habits, and then it'll show the fall of shot or the point of impact on the target, and then it will give you a reference point to actually look back on. And if you're getting shots go how it will show on my target cards, I'll explain each one, and then it'll give you a pointer on maybe what you're doing wrong, if indeed anything. With that, guys, yeah, stand by for some more videos later on in the week. And as always, guys, thanks so very much for joining me. Appreciate each and every one of you swing by the channel, and for the new guys who have just found the channel, thanks once again for swinging by, and yeah, keep at it and stand by for more videos. Cheers, guys.